Audio test. Audio test. 1, 2, 3. Audio test. Good morning, everyone. This is TJ Knight, Acting Executive Officer for the Board of Public Works. Welcome to our meeting. I'm just taking roll for any member of the public who would like to offer commentary on any of our items this morning. If there's anyone here in the room who would like to offer comment on any of our agendized items or public comment, please fill out a speaker card located in the back of the room. Indicate which item you'd like to speak on and hand it to me. I'll record your name for the record. And in one moment, I will ask the same of our attendees who are joining us via the virtual platform. And once again, this is TJ Knight, Acting Executive Officer for the Board of Public Works. And I'm taking roll on our, welcome to the meeting this morning. I'm taking roll for our virtual attendees to see if anyone would like to make public comment on any of our agendized items or offer public commentary this morning. And I do see a hand raised. Diana Nicole, would you like to offer a public comment this morning, Diana?
Yes, Claire, I would like to offer public comment. And just to clarify, I would like my time to start when I start speaking. Is that the way it would work?
Yes, of course. That's the way it always works, Diana. And public comment is what you'd like to offer comment on this morning?
General public comment.
Excellent. You'll have 2 minutes when I call on you, and we should get started
Diana,
in about
I wanna
5
speak
minutes.
on public comment
Sir,
too,
sir,
Diana.
if you could have a seat and not speak in. And I see another hand raised on the virtual platform, Clara Solis. Clara, would you like to offer commentary on any of our agendized items or public comment this morning?
Yes, general public comment, please.
Excellent. I will call on you when we start the meeting. It should be in about 5 minutes. Thank you, Clara.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and put you back on mute. One through 10. I do see a couple additional hands raised on our virtual platform. Call in user 1. Call in user 1. Would you like to offer commentary on any of our agenda items this morning? You should be receiving a pop-up asking you to unmute. Yes, calling user 1.
Yes.
Yes, I'm taking roll this morning to see if anyone would like to offer public comment or commentary on any of our items this morning. I see your hand raised. I'm going to put you back on mute. I'll get back to you in a minute. Maybe you have a time to gather your thoughts and indicate which item you'd like to speak on. I have another hand raised, caller ending in excuse me, 264. Caller ending in 264.
Hello?
Yes. Would you like to offer public comment or comment on any of our items this
Yes.
morning, sir? Public
Yes, I
comment? Sorry, you keep talking when you're talking. Would you like to offer public comment, sir?
Yes, I would. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can.
And what is your name, sir?
James.
Very good. We will call on you. We should get started momentarily, and I'll call on you when we reach public comment. Thank you. I'm going to put you back on mute.
Thank you.
Micah Hazarjian, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Micah, would you like to offer commentary on any of our agenda items this morning?
Yeah, I'd like to offer a general public comment.
Excellent. I have your name, and I'm going to go ahead and put you back on mute, and I'll call on you when we get to public comment.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to calling user 1. Calling user 1. Would you like to offer comment on any of our agenda items this morning or public comment?
Yeah, general public comment, please.
Very good. Do you have a name that I can associate with you, sir?
Steve.
That's fine. I'll refer to you as calling user 1. Thank you so much, and I'll call on you momentarily once we get started and reach public comment. And once again, if there are any members of the public who would like to offer public commentary and have not submitted a speaker card, please fill out a speaker card, hand it to me, and I will record your information for the record. Thank you so much, and we should get started momentarily.
According to Wikipedia, Brandenburg versus Ohio, 395 U.S. 444, is a landmark decision of the United States Supreme Court determining the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
And President Garcia and Commissioners, we are now in record mode.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Knight. And we will get started now. So let's start with, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. Mr. Knight?
Yes, President Garcia, good morning. TJ Knight, Acting Executive Officer, taking role in establishing quorum President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis, Commissioner Corsand, and Commissioner Reyes are present. We do have a quorum. We are also joined this morning by City Attorney Representative Adina Hopenstan. Once again, I'm Acting Executive Officer TJ Knight. President Garcia, we have one speaker card under public comment in the room. We have no neighborhood council commentary, and one speaker card under items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We also have 5 speakers joining us via the virtual platform on Zoom this morning
Okay.
for public comment.
Thank you for that. We also do have a presentation on the deck today.
Yes, and so we will take the presentation first prior to going to public comment.
Yes, thank you for that. Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Knight, for putting us in a established quorum and that we are here now. Colleagues, we have a pretty full agenda today, many different types of items, but I will start today with our presentation, moving on with public comment, and then we will take on the rest of the agenda items. That includes also the bids after the presentation this morning. All right, with that said, why don't we turn our attention to our World Landscape Architecture Certificate Recognition. All right, right here. And we got Ana Tabuena-Reddy, Assistant Director of the Bureau of Street Services, that will lead us on today's presentation. Thank you, Ms. Reddy. We're ready when you're ready.
Good morning, Board of Public Works President and Commissioners. Thank you for having us today. In celebration of World Landscape Architecture Month in April, Streets LA proudly showcases the outstanding students and faculty from Cal Poly Pomona, UCLA Extension, and USC's Landscape Architecture departments to the distinguished members of the Board of Public Works. These institutions play a pivotal role in shaping the next generation of landscape architecture professionals who will expertly balance sustainability, resilience, and creative innovation to elevate and enhance the quality of our environment across the city. So join us today in recognizing their invaluable contributions to our communities and the natural world as I introduce them to the board. First up is Cal Poly Pomona. I'm going to just provide a brief introduction on Cal Poly's program. Cal Poly Pomona's landscape architecture program nurtures socially conscious, environmentally aware professionals within a Hispanic-serving university. As the sole program in California boasting full accreditation for both bachelor's and master's degrees in landscape architecture by the Landscape Architecture Accreditation Board, Cal Poly Pomona's landscape architecture stands as the largest and most diverse program of its kind nationwide. Notably, over half of its student body represents the first generation and their families to pursue higher education. The department is an internationally recognized leader in regenerative design, ecological design, and sustainable systems. As a polytechnic university, Cal Poly Pomona students learn by doing in partnership with communities, organizations, and government agencies to give students hands-on, real-world experience where they focus on equity and sustainability. Faculty expertise in climate adaptation and social justice guides students towards community-led design approaches. Cal Poly's landscape architecture alumni play pivotal roles in city planning and have founded organizations like Northeast Trees and the Los Angeles Neighborhood Land Trust, shaping a more vibrant and inclusive cityscape. Welcome, Cal Poly students and faculty. Here to receive Cal Poly's certificate is Program Chair Claire Latané. Hold on a second. Did you want them to say a few words?
Yes, please. How?
Thank you so much. We're honored to work with the City of LA programs and to be represented by 2 alums, Ana and Lorena, here today. Thank you. And as well as our BSLA and MLA student, Johanna Ortiz.
Please.
Next up is UCLA Extension Landscape Architecture Certificate Program. For over 45 years, UCLA Extension has been a beacon of excellence in providing professionals with the opportunity to advance their careers in landscape architecture. Through a dynamic curriculum, flexible learning options, in-person, online, and hybrid formats, and strong industry connections, the program equips students with the practical skills and theoretical knowledge necessary for success in the field. With a focus on stewardship and professional development, UCLA Extension prepares its students to make meaningful contributions to the landscape architecture profession. Welcome students and faculty of the UCLA Extension Landscape Architecture Certificate Program. Here to accept UCLA's certificate is Program Director Stephanie Landrigan.
We're greatly honored that you are giving us this recognition. Our students love working with Public Works, with planning, with even Rec and Parks, and we have really enjoyed having this partnership with you, and thank you so much for honoring us today.
USC wasn't able to make it today, so I will be introducing, in addition to these esteemed academic institutions, we're also joined by the American Society of Landscape Architects Southern California Chapter, or ASLA, a vibrant community dedicated to promoting excellence in landscape architecture throughout Southern California. Through networking, education, and advocacy initiatives, ASLA SoCal enriches the profession and the communities it serves, fostering innovation, sustainability, and beauty in our region's landscapes. And today happens to be ASLA's Advocacy Day as well. So welcome ASLA, and here to receive their certificate is ASLA President Hongju Kim.
Thank you so much for recognizing American Society of Landscape Architects. We have over 830 members, including our students here, working tirelessly to fight for climate change, diversity, equity, inclusion with your departments and Rec and Parks. Thank you so much.
So in closing, together, these institutions and organizations represent the collective efforts towards creating more vibrant, sustainable, and inclusive public spaces for the residents of Los Angeles. Let us celebrate their invaluable contributions during World Landscape Architecture Month and beyond. Thank you for having us here today.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Reddy, for bringing this to our attention. And my understanding is that World Landscape Architecture was last month, right?
Yes,
So we
that's
are a little belated on your congratulations, but nevertheless, so important this position. I mean, as you can see, Ana Tabuena already a great representative of what a landscape architect could do. And so thank you so much for just making sure that we acknowledge the hard work that our landscape architects play here in the city, but just worldwide. You know, for many years, folks probably, many folks probably don't understand that these beautiful places, these public settings with the right plans, with the right trees with the right diversity that needs to be placed for the certain area or for the certain climate really comes from a point of this landscape architect industry and field and discipline. So thank you so much, Anna, for your servitude on that, but also to all the other ones that are getting their certificate, that are getting ready to do this, that are just in the middle of making sure that landscape architect does not become something from the past. This is something that we need you even more now than we needed before. So thank you, everybody, for just going into such a beautiful field. That I will have to say that. Anna is doing both. She does admin and she does this part of her life, which I think just kind of is a holistic piece to it. And I don't know what the future for all of you you're planning to do, but if there is a pathway into the city, please, we need as many well-rounded architects with us here. So thank you for your time. Congratulations. And we are honored to be able to bring this presentation forward. I'm going to let my colleagues say a few words and then we'll wrap this up and take pictures in the back. So I see Vice President Villegas, then Dr. Davis, Commissioner Corson, and then we'll finalize with Commissioner Reyes.
Can you hear me? Is this one any better?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. Thank you, Anna, for bringing this to our attention. We really work well with all the landscape architects from your various areas, obviously just throughout the city and throughout Los Angeles County. Throughout my entire career, I've had many exposure and working well with and collaborating well with a lot of landscape architects, just with, the biggest measure that we've had in Los Angeles County, Measure W, the Safe Clean Water program that is administered by Los Angeles County. That is such a big opportunity for us to be able to do a different type of work that includes creative elements that landscape architects bring, just to our public right-of-ways, our medians, our parks, our open spaces. And so there's just a sincere appreciation for each and every one of you that is here today. And just a big kudos also just to Cal Poly. I am an alum, a proud Bronco. I'm also a Trojan. But I know that the program very well. I know that, the students do a lot of good projects. Coming from Los Angeles County myself as an employee, just doing a lot of work in the past with the Cal Poly students on their senior projects. I just wanted to call that out. I know that other universities also do something similar, but it's just my familiarity with theirs and appreciate just Anna's steadfast and just really true vision for the city. We're so blessed to have her as at the helm over at Streets LA. People think of Streets LA as asphalt and bricks and mortars, but she brings the softer side of what this work entails and just a lot of creativity and just open-mindedness. So congratulations. I'm so glad that you brought this to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Dr. Davis?
And thank you so much, President Garcia. Congratulations, Anna, for the work that we have been doing here in the city through the Bureau of Engineering and the landscape community, the landscape architecture community. I appreciate the relationship that we continue to nurture between the university and the Bureau of Engineering as it relates to us increasing the talent and the skills that we have in the landscape architecture area. Additionally, I think the increased skills and knowledge that universities are providing, Cal Poly, UCLA, and of course, I'm a Trojan as well, and appreciate USC being involved in this. And most importantly, the professional association, the American Society of Landscape Architects, and their involvement is critically important for us to sustain increasing the numbers of individuals that we are able to bless with the knowledge to come to Los Angeles and to practice the landscape architecture profession. And so again, the certificate program also is very attractive because it doesn't take a long time as it does in some programs. And we have some individuals who in the middle of their career decide that they want to get another subspecialty. And so the certificate program makes it reasonable and it makes it available. And they've already proven that they can learn. And so the certificate programs become icing on the cake. And I think the bridge that brings us all together is the relationship that they have with the organization like the Bureau of Engineering. So once again, to everyone, thank you all for such a great job that you each have done. And we and the city of Los Angeles is going to be better because of the work that you have done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Commissioner Corson?
Thank you. Just congratulations, and Anna, thank you for bringing this before us. As a former planning commissioner and now here in Public Works, I know landscape architects aren't just architects. In California, Los Angeles, where we have significant issues with climate change and how we rethink what our landscape should look like, landscape architects are really the thought leaders on how to reimagine our green spaces and how we build and how we incorporate green space. So anytime we can do anything that highlights that effort, I always applaud. So thank you for bringing this before us.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Commissioner Reyes?
Ditto, with all the accolades that my colleagues have said. Thank you, Anna, and the BSS team for lifting up the architects, the landscape architects, and the work that they do. And I just want to put an emphasis on community engagement. You have that important role reaching out to the communities about their needs and preferences, revitalizing those neighborhoods, putting into place biodiversity issues that connect us all when it comes to sustainability and the shaping that future. That in and of itself is really paramount role of landscape architects. You put on your thinking cap, you put on your innovative hat, and really work with our community, not just on the design, but also promoting that sense of belonging so that the community appreciates and knows that they have a place where they can enjoy the places that you have designed. Appreciate the fact that, of course, in our climate environment right now, that resilience is very important, and your work does help increase our resilience, especially our huge city of Los Angeles, where we suffer from urban heat and potential disasters from that threat. So thank you so much for all the work that you do. Continue your passion, continue your creativity and your engagement, not just in our neighborhoods, but also as part of the economy. You help lift up the economy as part of your work. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And also I'd like to send thank you to Lorena Matos for helping organize this event. Thank you.
So, colleagues, if we just take a few minutes and take pictures in the back of the room with your certificates, we'll take pictures of all the folks that got the certificates, and then the commissioners, and then if you want, City Hall steps or anything else after that. So if you can give us about 5 minutes while we go out there and congratulate our landscape architects. Okay, let's take in person first. Okay, thank you, everybody, and welcome back. It's always so good when we get the opportunity to recognize our very special folks that we have within the Board of within Public Works, like landscape architects. And so it is always a pleasure to take our time to make sure that we do that. With that said, switching gears now and moving us on to our agenda items. Today we have a couple of general public comments in the queue, so we're going to take those now. And then we will move into the approval of the minutes. And then lastly, we'll do our bids. So with that, I have 2 public comment cards in person and 5 via Zoom. I'm going to take the first public comment card in person, which is starts with the letter R. R?
And a friendly reminder to our commenters that there is a 10-minute total maximum time per meeting. You have 2 minutes.
Brandenburg versus Ohio, 395 U.S. 444, 1969, a landmark decisions by the government that racism and a rant about anti-Semitism is unconstitutional. And why is that? Because earlier you're talking about beautifying this fucked up city of ours. Everywhere you look, there's trash. And now with the new sewer rates and the new goddamn fucking dumb bitch that's going to add trash collection fees higher, where's the trash going to go? It's going to go into the nice Brentwood communities where some of you cunts live, and they're going to dump it there for free. So if you got trash, I don't advise you, but the city will pick it up for free once you dump it out on the street, because that's what they've been doing for years. Every motherfucking street in Los Angeles is a shithole place to come and visit, even though we had this presentation about how, wow, we're putting landscape architecture into designs. Well, it's a failure. It's always been a failure. Your mayor's a failure. Backstabbing the public now with that dumbass from up north, Gavin Newsom, who's going to raise taxes to pay for the lifestyle of the Democrats who don't give a fuck about nothing but giving everything away for free. And you know what's best about free? We're giving bombs to Israel to kill children, but yet they don't see themselves a problem of the dark garden. Let's send them back to Israel. Bury the niggers. We intend to do our part. That was a landmark decision. So 42 U.S.C. 1983 politely, fuck you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Mike Greenspan.
And you have 2 minutes on public comment.
Mike Greenspan. the Jew who won't go back to Florida. And as Mr. Herman said, send them back to Israel. Well, give them free lunch. They just have to eat that food of false Catholic doctrines, that stinky yaller fish, the stuff they used to try to put down my throat in my public school lunchroom. I mean, if pussies smell like that, y'all, I'd go queer. Anyway, you're getting closer. What do I mean? Well, when you're paving roads, I keep talking about you're missing District 2. Well, you actually did a road paving, not quite Lancashire and Satakoy, but you were 0.15 or 15/100ths of a mile at Lancashire and Stag. And you didn't do a bad job, not the best in the world, but you didn't do a bad job. Why do I say not the best? Well, when you come up to the concrete part that borders on Lancashire, instead of repaving all the way up, you did a big white striped crosswalk, and you actually added extra paint instead of paving over cracks in the road. Quite a trick. So I wanted to comment about that. But, as the old saying, get smart, missed it by that much, and Hollywood women give their pussies to get into Hollywood. So you missed it by 15/100ths of a mile. I'm still lobbying for Satakoy and Lancashire. They're not potholes. I call it a jigsaw piece puzzle road. It's like pieces missing of a jigsaw puzzle. I mean, we're getting past the point of the slurry seal. You're going to have to tear up the whole fucking road and put down new asphalt because you gals are playing with your puss and you guys are jerking your dicks and not getting anything done, even though I'm lobbying for this project in District 2.
2 minutes.
Thank you. We will now go to our Zoom public comment. Mr. Knight, if you can take those in order.
Yes, Diana Nicole, go ahead. I see you're unmuted, and you have 2 minutes to offer your public comment.
I want to start by thanking Commissioners Corsand and Reyes for voting no to Commissioner Garcia's motion this past Monday that undermined the entire structure of the protected tree ordinance by essentially nullifying its deterrent consequences. Her motion drastically reduced the penalty for illegal protected tree removals from an intact indigenous woodland in the wildlife ordinance zone at 8461 Grandview Drive. The owner, Mr. Crosby, actually got off with what amounts to no penalty at all because a building permit can't be issued for this project until he gets a ZAD. A ZAD takes 1 to 2 years, and there's just over a year left on the penalty because Commissioners Garcia, Villegas, and Davis voted to reduce the penalty from 7 years to 2 years with almost a year of time served already, which is the minimum time it takes to secure the required ZAD. Commissioner Davis, I understand your concern about the fact that the only time the city actually implemented the penalty for illegal removals of protected trees was for a wealthy neighborhood with the most connected attorney in town. And that bothers me too. But undermining the deterrent consequences of the protected tree ordinance harms our less wealthy and disadvantaged communities the most. I do believe that the city's recommendation for a 7-year penalty was based on unique circumstances. The lot was in an intact indigenous woodland in the wildlife ordinance zone. The illegal removals were caught on video, and Mr. Crosby went back and cut more protected trees after being warned. And guess what? Mr. Crosby just did it again. On Monday morning, while 3 commissioners voted to gut the penalty for Mr. Crosby, protected walnut trees at 8461 Grandview Drive were cut down
2 minutes.
again.
2 minutes, thank you. Clara Solis. Clara Solis, I'm going to ask you to unmute. You'll have 2 minutes to offer your comment. Go ahead, Clara. You have 2 minutes.
Highland Park resident, co-founder of San Pasquale Arroyo Seco Wildlife Preservation and member of East Yard Communities for Environmental Justice, speaking today on my own behalf. I support the statements of Diana. I treasure and fight for trees, which are our children's future. They protect us. By not enforcing the protected tree ordinance, you are encouraging developers to remove our trees and are jeopardizing the future of our children by accelerating climate change. At the last meeting, you failed to protect our communities and our protected trees. Your action on Monday rendered the protected tree ordinance meaningless. You allowed the developer Crosby, aka Datura Enterprises, LLC, to get away with removing 8 protected trees. All my life, I have watched as collaborators like you, Commissioners Garcia and Villegas, allow our trees to be removed. You are complicit in jeopardizing our future by allowing the destruction of our tree canopy. And Commissioner Davis, your memory is wrong. The protected tree removal case you thought was an illegal removal was actually a permit request for removals, and fees charged are the permit fees to legally remove protected trees. I grew up next to the 6710 freeway interchange in East LA, where hundreds of trees in East LA were removed, and decades later, they took out our parkway and most of the remaining oaks and sycamores. Now you can't find oaks and sycamores anywhere in East LA except parks and cemeteries. This is the future for the city of Los Angeles that you are creating and accelerating in your failure to enforce a protected tree ordinance. And Chair Garcia, I call BS on your recommendation to plant 32 trees on the Crosby, aka Datura Enterprises property. You know it won't happen, and it's meaningless and self-serving. Thank you, Commissioners Garcia and Corson, for protecting our trees and future from climate change and heat island impacts. Thank you.
Thank you, Clara. Our next public comment is from James, caller ending in 264. James? Go ahead, you have 2 minutes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Yes. We've you guys were talking about open space, but they forgot to mention the fact that we have all these illegal kitchen encampments on our sidewalk, blocking the mobility of Angelenos. Uninsured, unpermitted, will never be permitted, according to Barbara Ferrer. Because of the design of what they have. They have tables, they have gas stoves on the sidewalk. We have we're in a very heated climate, and what are you doing? You have stoves on the sidewalk. You're creating more heat. And the Bureau of Street Services were just out there yesterday, gave them a notice of a violation, They've been there for 2 years, 3 years already, and all they've gotten is notices of violation. Why is it costing? It's money just going out the window. I mean, we're paying for these investigators to go out there to do something, but they don't do anything because notices don't mean anything. We're not getting any money coming in from violations on our sidewalks. It's a crime. We're in a criminal organization. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it. If you look at our streets are a criminal enterprise because nobody's getting paid. I mean, the city is not getting paid for its sidewalks. There is no way for them to get paid. These are unpermitted people that have just come into our communities and invaded us. I also want to mention that the people now are putting cones on parking areas, right curbside parking areas, to block people from parking there. This is illegal, and
2 minutes.
that's
Thank you, James.
That's terrible. Bye.
Our next public commenter is Micah. I don't see Micah in the queue. Oh, there you are. Go ahead, Micah. You unmute, and you have 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Micah Sergian. I'm with the environmental justice organization Coyote One Masawali, based out of Northeast Los Angeles. Our organization speaks with the community all the time about the importance of trees, and specifically the threatened and rare Southern California black walnut tree. This is a tree that people want to see in their community, and developers are getting away with cutting these down at an astounding rate illegally. It happened a couple years ago over on Onyx Drive when the Board of Public Works failed to enforce the tree protection ordinance despite evidence of these trees being cut down, as well as this current issue that happened. You know, I echo the concerns of Diana and Clara. And the LA Tree Protection Ordinance is the law. It was fought for very hard by many people over the years, and failing to enforce it or just giving the developers a little slap on the hand that doesn't actually prevent them from illegally cutting trees down undermines the law. And it is your responsibility to enforce it and respect, you know, the environmental concerns of our communities. So I believe that it should not be up to your discretion to reduce the amount of the penalty. There should be strict standards for how much penalty developers get based on what trees are being cut down. And it should not be enforced differently amongst wealthier and less wealthy communities, as has been demonstrated in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Micah. Our next public commenter is call-in user 1. Call-in user 1, you should have a prompt to unmute yourself, and you'll have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, this is Steve from CD14. Just several points here. This is regarding the illegal tree cutting on Grandview. Is this appealable, this decision you made on Monday? Just one thing. Also, it sounds like there were some further recent violations. Now, is this a new violation? Can this be taken into account on this waiver that this developer got? So, I mean, where's this going to end? I mean, it's just everybody gets every developer gets a slap on the wrist. There should be a scorched earth policy. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's common knowledge that in the development community that you can get you hire a professional, a mercenary professional to give you any, whether it be an arborist or an engineer, to give you the answer you want, and then basically, so yeah, it's just going on. We're losing trees. We're supposed to be getting trees, and we're just. So I mean, this is yeah, okay. So in any case, it's time that the urban forestry division becomes its own separate department. I mean, it's just sort of being lost in the public works, in the labyrinth of the public works, and it needs to, have its own department, its own enforcement ability. And so that's all I have to say. But yeah, please reconsider that. What you do, the guy just got a slap on the wrist, basically, and he knew what he was doing, and blatantly, So okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I do see 2 new attendees via Zoom who have their hand raised. Silva Blackstone, would you like to offer public comment this morning? You should receive a prompt. Go ahead, Silva.
Silva Blackstone.
Yes, go ahead, Silva. You have 2 minutes.
Arborist.
If you're listening on, I'm sorry, Silva, if you're listening on 2 devices, could you please mute your second device while you offer comment? And go ahead.
Yes. Thank you. Now I'm on the Zoom for the meeting. Okay. So what I'd like to say, I don't know why it's still echoing, but okay, what I'd like to say.
Yes, we can hear you, Silva. Go ahead. You have 80 seconds left.
What I understand, I've done a deep dig into this project, and Mr. Crosby intended to skip over the coming regulations He doesn't know how to find a tree expert until his feet are placed near the fire. And then he suddenly found a tree expert. So he was trying to skip over his responsibilities to follow the process for developing a project. And that is a problem. And that shows his intent. And he shouldn't be able to just get a very weak response to his ignorance, so his professed ignorance of the law. Thank you.
Thank you, Silva. And I do see one more hand raised. Tani K. Tani K, would you like to offer public comment this morning?
Actually, Tani is not here.
I apologize. I'm going to put you on mute. If the user, if the person on Zoom under the username Tani K would like to offer public comment this morning, please mute your second device. It's causing echoing that makes it very difficult to hear your audio input.
I understand. I'm sorry. I'm her husband.
Very good. Would you like to offer public comment this morning, sir?
Yes. He wanted me to say, by and large, with respect to the protected tree ordinance, if there is no following any of the penalties for not following that ordinance, what makes you think any developer is ever going to pay attention to the ordinance in the first place? Please follow the ordinance. There's no reason to let somebody off with a simple, what amounts to a warning, don't do it again, because I can guarantee they'll do it again and again until you finally start enforcing the penalties. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And that concludes public comment this morning.
Thank you so much for that. Public comments now officially closed. Moving on to the first item on today's business, which is the approval of the minutes of Wednesday, April 24, 2024. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Mr. Knight, there's a first by me and a second by Dr. Davis to approve the minutes of Wednesday, April 24, 2024.
Very well. We'll take a roll call vote, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas. President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes, and the item is approved.
Very well, thank you for that. We have done our presentation, and we do have bids this morning. We do have two public speaker cards for item number 1. We'll start with Mike Greenspan. Mike Greenspan. Third time, Mike Greenspan, okay? Not in the room. Moving on to the next card, I have R. Letter R.
And you have 2 minutes.
For the record, I believe it says rabbi, if you can read, dummy. So, dummy, have you heard that the Highway Safety Improvement Program is going to put a left turn signal? Well, that's not important. What's important is I have the Federal Highway Administration going to build 4 ramps, curb cuts off of Soto Morango, because for years, you dumb niggers with Metro and transportation niggers and all the other niggers that don't know how to budget money finally got Caltrans after I filed a complaint under ADA to the Federal Highway Administration. And in 90 days, I, for the record, Armando Herman, a white nigger too, will build you these curb ramps right there by General Hospital for that ugly, shitty new homeless shelter you have there on the corner. And isn't that nice? Finally, the bids on highway safety is slowly in California using the taxpayers' money for what it's worth. Shit. The same shit the same shit I see on a daily basis. No tactile, no safety for pedestrians that are elderly, disabled like myself, because the racist fat president here likes to kick me out because she says I have to either be sitting or get out. No, bitch.
Stick to the
I
topic,
will be
please. This is
standing
item number 1. If you're not
for these
speaking on that item, you need to move out.
For the
Thank you.
estimated cost of that 4 number there, and I'm not going to reiterate it because, like I said, the racist fat bitch wanted to kick me out because I was speaking about the bids in the previous pass, and now under 42 USC 1983. Fuck you, fatso.
That's the end of public comment for item number 1.
Correct.
We are now on bids. Bids will be received at 10 a.m. for the following public works project: Highway Safety Improvement Program 8 left turn signal modification in Median Islands. Work order E1908343 for an estimated amount of $4,712,911 in council districts 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, and 15. And this morning we have Mr. Castellanos here. Mr. Castellanos, good morning. Welcome.
And Mr. Castellanos has brought in the bids to the room this morning, and there is one bid received on today's bid opening from International Line Builders Incorporated, DBE ILB Electric. International Line Builders Incorporated, DBA ILB Electric's total bid amount is $6,413,893. 6,413,893. And that concludes today's bid opening. I'll read it into the record once again. 6,413,893.
Thank you for that. That is the last of our bids. Colleagues, is there a second to my motion to adopt and approve today's bids? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Mr. Knight, there's a first by me and a second by Dr. Davis to adopt and approve today's bids.
Very well, we'll take a roll call vote on item number 1, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas. President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes. And item number 1 is received, opened, and declared forthwith.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that. All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 2. We do have 2 speaker cards on item number 2. We have the first one, Mike Greenspan.
And you have 2 minutes.
Mike Greenspan, once again, I'm staying here, but you won't go back to Florida. You anti-Semitic, anti-Christ Catholics, and let's ho, ho, ho. Yes, just because it's May doesn't mean Christmas is over. Just either go to City Council or go to Board of Public Works. We are Santa Claus. Now, who? Council District 9. Why, that's Kern Price's district. I don't know if he'll be here through the end of the term or he'll be serving it in prison, but that's the district. So we already know.
Please stick to the content.
Well, anything in Council District 9 is suspect because of the representation there. Always remember that. It's because of who it is that makes it suspect.
We have
Now we have a
engineering services here.
$1,200,000 bid, budget authority. What is a TOS, a task order solicitation for Stan Tech Consulting Services. Well, for pre-qualified, on-call wastewater and environmental engineering service consultants. Ho, ho, ho. What's the old saying? It's not what you know, it's who you know. What was that key word? Pre-qualified on-call. That means it's just a rigged game, folks. Nobody else has a chance but this one company. I mean, Valentine's Day has come and gone, but let me call you sweetheart. Here's another sweetheart deal, this time thanks to the Board of Public Works with sweetheart contracts. Just because Christmas and Valentine's Day have passed doesn't mean the
Can we
methods
stick to the
that they
content
go
of item
by
number
it
2?
are still here. And the corruption of this fucking board shows. Thank you.
Next speaker, R, starts with the letter R.
You have 2 minutes.
For the record, the card says Rabbi Nigger Dusty. R&D. Get
Please
it
stick
right.
to the content, please.
Yeah, the rigged sweetheart deals for contingency and allowances. What the fuck? $1 million, 200 is just chump change if you're gonna dip your fingers into the piggy bank for these reconstruction projects. You know what? Half of these projects, reconstruction, we figured it out. You're only doing partial reconstruction while you're ripping off the public to include contingency and allowances to rip off the public. So where is the fat chick that runs this show? Because she must be absent-minded because she don't know what the fuck is happening here regarding the rigged sweetheart Southeast Yard reconstruction project. Well, I figured out, you see, just like that 8 left turn signal modification on item number 1, it shows you how fucked up it takes what? $4 million of taxpayers' dollars to come up with 8 fucking left turn signals? While in the meantime, $1 million lousy 200 is being spent for a design simply for a contingency and allowance of stealing money from the project to give to the developers, to give to your department heads that, once again, you heard it earlier, I don't know who has the biggest caucus here, but
Can we stick to item number 2, please?
I'm talking about the Stormy Daniels issue.
That has nothing to do with
well,
this.
Donald Trump gave it her 45.
Okay, we need to stop. If you're not going to stick to the content, you need to just move out.
Consultants to list the
how many more
provided
seconds does he have,
protection.
TJ?
What was that?
5 seconds.
It has to be about the topic.
Yeah, fuck you.
Stick to the topic. Okay, public comment for item number 2 is now closed. This is a request from the Bureau of Engineering and Council District 9 for a task order solicitation number 76. Stantec Consulting Services, Inc., recommending the board to, 1, authorize the city engineer to issue the task to Stantec Consulting Services, Inc. from the pre-qualified on-call wastewater and environmental engineering services consultant list to provide architectural, engineering, design, and construction administration services for the Southeast Yard reconstruction project as stated in task order number 76, with a budget authority of $1,200,000, including contingency. And this morning, we have Mr. Haji Abdallah on this item. Haji, good morning, welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners, City Attorney, Department Heads. As stated, we are seeking authority to allow the city engineer to award Task Order 76 to Stantec Consulting for the Southeast Yard project with a budget authority of approximately $1.2 million. The project entails the rehabilitation of the Bureau of Street Services yard located at 4206 South Main Street in Los Angeles. The 63,000 square foot yard is composed of an existing 6,200 square foot facility and approximately 1,000 square foot trailer with an open parking lot of roughly nine parcels. 6 of the parcels, which is interesting, 6 of the parcels are owned by Streets LA and 3 of the parcels are owned by RAP and used by Recreation and Parks. The project was initiated by Bureau of Streets Services, also known as Streets LA, to address the safety of the aging infrastructure and to address the damage of the existing buildings by a fire in 2019. The scope of work consists of the demolition of the existing structures, the reconstruction of those facilities using modular construction and prefab construction, as well as infrastructure updates and a reconfiguration of the new maintenance facility to accommodate the shared usage of Bureau of Street Services, of Streets LA, and Recreation and Parks. In order to streamline the project's delivery timeline and to reduce costs, the use of state-certified prefabricated modular buildings and pre-engineered buildings structures will be utilized. Some of the sustainable features of the project will include photovoltaic panels, solar panels, energy-efficient mechanical electrical systems, the use of recycled materials, possibly EV chargers, and a stormwater management system that will infiltrate large swaths of this of water that run off from these types of yards into infiltration bins. we experienced some difficulty in getting this project off the ground. A TOS was initially issued to our architectural PQOC list, and despite our robust outreach, no proposals were received. In order to move the project forward, BOE then reissued a TOS to the wastewater pre-qualified list and subsequently only received one proposal. That proposal was fairly high, and we worked with the subcontractors and prime contractor to negotiate those fees down. The prime is an architecture and engineering firm, meaning they have all of the design disciplines within their firm. And so as part of our negotiations, we removed some of the other sub-consultants that were added into the initial proposal, which explains why our BRP numbers are so low. The initial proposal, there's a slight mistake here in the report. The initial proposal was closer to $1.5 million, and we had big chunks of money to negotiate down to get to a point where we can move this project forward. I am available for any questions.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Abdallah. Any questions? I see Dr. Davis with a question. Dr. Davis?
You said in terms of the materials they're going to use on these, on this work is what kind of materials again?
For the maintenance facility, we will use some pre-engineered structures, which is a structure that's, again, pre-engineered, pre-calculated, and will provide an ease of construction once we get into that part of construction. And then for the office spaces, we're looking to use state-certified modular structures.
And what is the time period in which we've allocated for the project in terms of the completion of it? I know that in construction, oftentimes things come up that we're not planned for, but in terms of planning, we have an estimated time period that we anticipated will take for us to complete the project. So I'm seeking to know, what do we think the time period will be for completion of the project?
For completion of the entire project, we're looking at, upon approval today, about a 1-year design duration, 5 to 6 months bid and award, and then a 1 year of construction. We will try to push that construction duration to about 8 to 10 months, but we have to be very careful as we do so we don't end up in a position where we're paying
And
for
of course, your choice in the materials that you're going to use help to expedite the timeliness of completion as well, correct?
Absolutely.
Now, in terms of the usage of staffing and that kind of thing, do we have any information in terms of how we will include others in the work, or is it exclusively work that will be completed by Stantec Consulting Services? Do we know?
You mean sub-consultants?
I mean, correct, sub-consultants.
Yes. So the chart is it's mostly Stantec, as you can see. It's mostly Stantec.
Yeah, I know it's not really a lot of money as we look at constructing facilities, 1.2 million. So that in terms of this particular motion, Stantec will be the major prime contractor doing all of the work on this, or we will have some subs.
Yeah, let me clarify. Stantec is a prime consultant. I may have misspoken. I misspoke earlier and said contractor. They're the prime consultant. The construction will come back to this board for proper solicitation and bid in the future.
Okay, got it.
This is just a design task order.
Okay.
The first step.
I got it.
Yes.
Okay. All
Apologies.
right, appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Dr. Davis. Any other questions, colleagues? Hearing none. Any objections to this item? Hearing none as well. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 2 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, VP Villegas.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Mr. Knight, there's a first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 2 forward and forthwith.
Very well. We will take a roll call vote on item number 2, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes. Item number 2 is adopted and will move forward forthwith.
Very well. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you all.
All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 3. I do have 2 speaker cards in here. I have starting with the letter R. Call it 3 times. R. R. Okay. Moving on to Mike Greenspan. Mike Greenspan. Mike Greenspan. Okay. Public comment for item number 3 is now officially closed. This is a request in Council District 8 for a final closeout change order number 17 to JR Pipeline Company, Inc., recommending the board to, 1, authorize the city engineer to issue deductive FCCO number 17 for the 74th Street Sewer Rehab Unit number 1, Venice to Western Project, to adjust bid items and allowance items. So we have Mr. Huffman here this morning. All right, good to see you. Welcome.
Right. Good morning, Willis Huffman, Bureau of Engineering, Wastewater Conveyance, Construction Division. This board report is seeking authorization to issue final closeout change order number 17 to JR Pipeline for the 74th Street Sewer Rehab Unit 1 in the amount of a credit of $358,132. The project was awarded to JR Pipeline on March 27, 2019, and the amount of $9.3 million. The project consisted of rehabilitating 4,715 feet of 54-inch circular concrete pipe using UV cured in place pipe and replacing 2 maintenance hose. The project also consisted of issuing a supplemental agreement change order after it was discovered that flow volumes were higher during construction than originally planned and required an additional bypass to avoid the risk of a sewer spill. The statement of completion for this project was received on June 26, 2023. This final closeout change order adjusts bid item quantities, deletes unused allowance item amounts, and provides full and final settlement of all claims and or requests for equitable adjustments for the construction work performed on the project. There is a total allowance item adjustment reduction of $298,254 and a total bid item adjustment reduction of $59,878. which resulted in a total contract reduction of $358,132. The reason for this credit was due to a portion of the unused bid items, such as allowance for permits, differing site conditions, and removal of disposal of sewer debris. There is no impact to the general fund, and no additional funding is required for this change order. That concludes my report. I'm open to any questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Huffman, for that report. Any questions, colleagues? None? Any objections? Hearing none, this is necessary to do? Yes, I take it that way too. Okay, given that there are no objections to this item, is there a motion on the table to move item number 3 forward and forthwith? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Mr. Knight, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 3 forward and forthwith.
Very well. We'll take a roll call vote on item number 3, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Coruscant.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes. Item number 3 is adopted and will move forward forthwith.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the day. All right, moving on to item number 4. This is a request from the Bureau of Sanitation in Council Districts 1, 7, and 15. Authority to negotiate, accept, and execute grant agreements. California Natural Resources Agency Urban Greening Company, Program 2023. Give me a second. I'm sorry, I meant to do this. So I'm just going to call public comment cards because I do have 2 on the room. Starting with the letter R. 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 Okay. Moving on to Mike Greenspan. Mike Greenspan. And Mike Greenspan. Okay. A public comment for item number 4 is now officially closed. Recommending the board to 1, approve and forward this report with transmittals to the mayor and city council with the recommendation that the city council, subject to concurrence of the mayor, authorize the director of Bureau of Sanitation to negotiate, accept, execute, and submit all documents, including but not limited to applications, agreements, amendments, and payment requests, etc. Subject to the approval of the city attorney as to form which may be necessary to secure grant funds for the MacArthur Lake Stormwater Capture Project, Oro Vista Local Area Urban Flow Management Project, and the Wilmington Neighborhood Greening Project for the California Natural Resources Agency Urban Greening Program 2023. And 2, request that the city council, subject to the concurrence of the mayor, adopt the accompanying resolution for submissions of applications to the California Natural Resources Agency Urban Cleaning Program 2023 as required by the granting agency. And this morning we have Mr. Fan.
Yes.
All right, welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Tian Fan. I'm an Environmental Engineering Associate with LA Sanitation at the Centralized Grants Unit. The Urban Greening Program is a grant program from the California Natural Resources Agency that's been running since 2016. The purpose of this program is to fund new parks, open spaces, walkable and bikeable trails, and other projects that are much needed to make California a greener, healthier, and more sustainable place especially for underserved and underprivileged communities. With this in mind, LA San has chosen 3 projects that we believe will be the most competitive for this grant, namely the MacArthur Lake Project, the Oro Vista, and the Wilmington Neighborhood Greening. All 3 projects are multi-beneficial, having scopes that not only beautify parks, add trees and green spaces, enhance recreational activities, but also capture polluted stormwater flows to protect the health of the watersheds of LA and the well-being of residents. When finished, the project will also build climate resilience against the risk of drought, flooding, and extreme heat for the neighborhoods, all of which are disadvantaged or severely disadvantaged according to the data from Cal EPA. The grant was published on October 9, 2023, and LA San has submitted the 3 applications on November 20th of 2023 with permission from the CAO. And the grant has not yet been awarded. I want to clarify that. And the announcement is expected at the end of this year. And that concludes my report.
So you'll hear back at the end, like December? Oh, it's a pretty long process.
So because of the changes in the California budget, this program has been delayed.
Oh, I see.
So we might hear back from them in November, December, or also there's a chance that the program might be canceled, but removed from the budget altogether, and then we have to reapply next year.
Okay. Okay, we will cross our fingers that this program's not part of the slashing of the budgets here, but it's all around. It's from, state, city, and so forth. So, I commend you for doing the work even though, and I do support that we do still push it forward with crossed fingers. Okay, colleagues, any questions on this item? Commissioner Reyes.
Well, thank you for bringing this forward, and I really applaud that we are taking advantage of this opportunity, basically because of local water goals of the city under the Green New Deal LA, sourcing local water up to 70%. My question has something to do with the matching funds. Can you explain that more based on the grant instructions, specifically because we are in a budget situation and the same with the state? But can you just explain that?
Sure. All 3 of these projects are mainly funded by the Safe Clean Water Program, also known as the Measure W from the county. So that is the majority of where the match funding would be coming from for this grant. I do want to note that matching is not a requirement for this grant application.
That we are what again?
I'm sorry?
That we don't have a match?
The match is the Measure W funding, even though it's not required.
So we're still matching it?
Right, correct.
Okay, so there is monies for us to be able to match the grant funding that will be given on each of those 3 projects.
Correct. It's not our expectation that this grant would fully fund any of these projects. It will be partially funded by Measure W or this grant.
Is it our expectation to be able to complete these projects despite budget shortfalls?
I can't speak to that. Sean, do you want to?
Good morning, Commissioner. Sean Fan from the Safe Clean Water Implementation Division, LA San. Just for the clarification, as if I believe correctly, as been noted, I think the grant does not require matching fund. But however, to make our project more competitive and more compelling, all these 3 listed projects does have the funding from the regional safe drinking water. That's why I think it is we are showing to the state that we do have funding already secure from the safe lane. And what we are asking from them through this grant is basically just additional funding to help us cover the funding shortfall that we have.
Understood. So good luck to us, so that at least our application will be seen in a better light because of the matching grants, matching funds that we have for the three applications. Thank you. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Reyes, for your questions there. I don't have any questions either, and I don't see any other questions from my colleagues. Any objections, colleagues? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 4 forward and forthwith? Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Is there a second? Thank you, VP Villegas. Mr. Knight, there's a first by Commissioner Reyes and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 4 forward and forthwith.
Very well. We will take a roll call vote on item number 4, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes, and the item is approved and moves forward referred to Mayor and Council forthwith.
Very well. Thank you so much for that. Ms. Prophet, I just want to thank you always for your service on the grants world, and you do such a great job making sure we do. Can you keep us posted on the developments of this grant, whether it's going to be in the budget or not? And then, of course, if you submit, whether we got it or not. Perfect. Okay. Thank you for that. Have a good rest of the day. All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 5. This is a request in Council District 11. And I do have 2 public comment cards for the record. Mike Greenspan is no longer in the room. Mike Greenspan. Second, R. Letter R. Public comment for item number 5 is now officially closed. This is a request from the Bureau of Engineering, Construction Order Myers and Son, Capital Improvement Project 2519, Hyperion Incident Recovery C7 and DICE 2 Facility Rehabilitation. Authorize the execution of construction order for this work to Myers and Son in the amount not to exceed $1,016,000, including contingency. And this morning we have Mr. Nadir Shah here. Sir, good morning. Good to see you. Welcome.
Good morning. And Nadir Shah, Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Engineering Division. I am here to request your approval for additional funding for Capital Improvement Project 2519, Hyperion Water Reclamation Plan, Hyperion Incident Recovery C7, and DICE 2 Facility Rehabilitation. This project is undertaken at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant, Biosolids Building C7 basement, and the dewatering building DICE 2 elevator shaft. This request stems from the unexpected extent of damage caused by the July 11, 2021 spill. Initially, we mobilized Myers and Sons Construction under an emergency authorization in September 2022. They began remediation work on both the C7 basement and DICE 2 elevator with a $500,000 budget. However, during our effort to address lead-based paint and mold, we discovered more damage and encountered additional requirements, including Los Angeles Department Building and Safety approved design plans. This has expanded the project scope beyond what was originally planned. To manage these complexities effectively, we have decided to de-scope the C7 basement remediation from the current contract and focus our resources on restoring the DICE 2 elevator shaft. This adjustment is crucial for maintaining the integrity of our sludge dewatering centrifuges and ensuring the smooth operation of our facility. Currently, construction is approximately 65% complete, with the statement of completion expected in August 15, 2024. Today, I am requesting your approval for an additional $516,000, bringing the total not to exceed budget to $1,016,000 as already approved by the PRC in June 2023. This increase will allow us to fully restore the DICE 2 elevator shaft and maintain the efficiency and resilience of our plant. There will be no impact on the general fund. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, I am ready to answer.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shaw, for that. This is part of the required recuperation improvements for Hyperion?
Yeah, so this is at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant, and the reason we are doing this project because of the spill event in July 2021. The two facilities, C7 and DICE 2, they were impacted, and to restore them to a pre-spill condition, this project is undertaken, but the scope is so much more that we cannot complete C7 under this project. So we have a separate capital improvement project to address C7, which is currently in design. So we will know the extent of damage and we'll come again to the board to address that part. But this additional funding will ensure that we can complete the restoration of DICE 2 elevator shaft area completely. So that is critical because that's where the plant operations, they can access the 8 centrifuges. So this is prioritizing the resources and at the same time addressing it. So this will help us bring the DICE 2 shaft area. The C7 is, we are de-scoping it. Initial plan was to rehabilitate both C7, that's a basement, and the DICE 2. So now C7 de-scope, and it's currently in design under a separate CIP. So I hope that address your question.
It does. Thank you. Okay, let me go with Commissioner Reyes. I had a follow-up question. Go ahead, Commissioner Reyes, please.
Yeah, just for clarification, so what you're asking from us today is for the funding that will address like remediation, more of the remediation and mitigation for all the problems that have arisen but were unforeseen before. Is that correct?
Yes, we initially thought that only interior drywalls are impacted, but once they were removed, we found more damage to the exterior drywall and the other area. So scope increase, and also our assumption was that no building and safety like a full-fledged design is needed. Now that is required for both the areas. So there is a cost to the design, the time, as well as additional scope. So the $516,000 of additional funding on top of the 500,000 which was approved. So the total budget of $1,016,000 will address the complete rehabilitation of DICE 2 facility. C7 we stabilized
I
the site.
understand that, yes.
But we cannot complete rehabilitation of C7 basement with this funding and under this project. We will do it under a separate CIP 8203, which is currently in design. And that we will do it under Cisco.
So the completion of this project is incumbent upon the completion of this project in order for us to proceed with C7.
So, can you repeat?
For the C7 work.
Yeah, so C7, we are de-scoping, removing the scope from this contract.
Yes.
And then we will do it under CIP 8203.
Okay.
So that is
That's separate.
Yeah, so C7 less critical facility will be done under a separate Cisco project. But we stabilize as much we done under the same project, the same contract. but with this emergency contract, we will completely take care of the dice to elevator shaft part. So it was like
And that's exactly my question is that this is focused on DICE too.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Reyes. Any other questions, colleagues? Hearing none. So just so that I am super clear here, this is part of the recovery efforts, but it's not the final project.
So this is one of the emergency projects to mitigate the impacts of the July 11, 2021 spill. So this is one of the projects. We had several others. Now this will address, initially it was, we plan to address both the areas C7 and DICE 2. So with the current funding and under this contract, we will completely address the DICE 2. The C7 will be under a separate, so that it will complete the scope then.
Okay, okay. City Attorney, we're good with all this? Yes, okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, any other questions? Any objections? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 5 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Mr. Knight, there's a first by VP Villegas and a second by Commissioner Reyes to move item number 5 forward and forthwith.
Very well. We will take a roll call vote on item number 5, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes, and item number 5 is approved and will move forward forthwith.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of the day. All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 6. These are administrative items. City Attorney, Ms. Hopkins, can I take 6, 7, and 8 all together? I'll start.
Yeah.
I think so too, right?
They seem related.
Okay, so I do have 6, 7, and 8 speaker cards, which I have. No one is in the room anymore for the record, so I am going to bypass calling that. Confirmation that we only have our BOE rep in the room. Thank you. All right, item number 6, 7, and 8 are administrative items. I'll just read them into the record and then we can vote on them all at once. These are specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for invitation of bids in Council Districts 1, 10, and 14. Wilshire Boulevard, Grand Avenue to Hoover Street, STM, work order L121494554 with an estimate amount of $1,533,000. Bid receipt date will be Wednesday, June 12, 2024. Item number 7, this is specification submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids in Council District 15, Slater Avenue Rail Grade Crossing Improvements, work order E1908636 for an estimate amount of $573,466. Bid receipt date will be Wednesday, June 12, 2024. Item number 8, in Council Districts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, and 15 for a sidewalk repair program, package number 70, access request sites, work order E1909083, estimate amount of $1,941,718 for bid receipt dates will be June 12, 2024.
I apologize. I'm sorry to interrupt you, President Garcia. I just want to note a correction. I believe that you said the estimate for item number 8 is the estimate for item number 8 should be $1,951,718.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
Yeah, so for item number 8, reading into the record the city engineer's estimate of $1,951,718. 1,951,718. I think you may have misspoken when you read.
Oh, what did I say? 100,000?
109,417.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. With that correction, it's I think I probably did say that. Okay. $1,951,718. Got it. All right, colleagues. Thank you for that, Mr. Knight. Is there a motion on the table to move items 6, 7, and 8 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there thank you, Dr. Davis. Mr. Knight, there's a first by me and first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move items 6, 7, and 8.
Very well. We will take a roll call vote on items number 6, 7, and 8, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
And 6, 7, and 8 are adopted and will move forward forthwith.
Okay, very well. And our last item on today's agenda, second to last, is a partial release of stop notice, LA Steel Service, Inc. LA Steel Service, Inc. is transmitting a partial release of stop notice in the amount of $2,218, reducing the stop notice from $1,260 with 83 cents to $1,125,040 viaduct replacement project. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item?
Second.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Mr. Knight, there's a first by me and a second by VP Villegas to move item number 9 forward and forthwith.
Very well. We will take a roll call vote on item number 9, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Davis, aye.
Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
Item number 9 is approved and will move forward is received and will move forward forthwith.
Very well, thank you for that. And last item on today's agenda, it's an item number 10, partial release of stop notice for Lead Electric Inc. Lead Electric Inc. is transmitting a partial release of stop notice in the amount of $111,406.50, reducing the total stop notice from $186,264.99 to $75,487.54 for work done in connection with the Argo Drain Sub-Basin Facility Project. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item?
Second.
Thank you, VP Villegas and Dr. Davis. Mr. Knight, there's a first by me and a second by VP Villegas and Dr. Davis to move item number 10 forward and forthwith.
Very well. We will take a roll call vote on item number 10, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corson. Aye. And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
Item number 10 is received and will move forward forthwith.
Thank you for that. Colleagues, it is now 11:43 and this meeting is officially adjourned. Hope everybody has a good rest of the day. Thank you, everyone.